when Lisa, you know, brought this to the table and convinced everyone that this was the one, you know, and you know, I was doing the numbers and all that stuff, and you know, honestly, I felt like, you know, I had some of my graduate program had a certification in family therapy, and you know, I had worked with adolescents and we had worked with families, and you know, so there was a part of me that I'll admit that seemed like, well, this won't be much. It's really, you know, we'll be doing treatment and it will be more, but it's really a lot of what we already do. You know, because there wasn't, and we did a lot of, you know, reading and stuff, and none of it was, yeah, so none of it was like, oh, I don't get that part. You know, it's like, oh yeah, that's what we do anyway. And then, you know, just seeing this process, because now we've seen it a couple of times, because we were trained as therapists, at Lisa and I, with 3 others. Yeah. We always have to count, and then you know, then since then we trained another person, and now another person, and now, but so I've seen this happen, where you start out thinking like, oh yeah, I know all this stuff, you know, because we know a lot about adolescent development, we know a lot about families, we know a lot about substance use, we know a lot about engaging people, you know, we know a lot of those things. But then I was very surprised that, oh, there actually is more to it than that. You know, there's more to it. And then, you know, with the early part of the training, you know, with the 3 days or 4 days of training, you know, that was a lot of knowledge. But then the process of doing the weeklies, you know, at first it seemed like, oh, this is a lot of paperwork. And like, it took me a while to realize, oh, that's not paperwork. That's not like documentation. It's something other than that, and it's something, you know, that really, really drives the treatment, like the thought you put into what you're going to do, and the supervision part of it, where, yeah, so that part, I think, was, and when that really, I think for everyone at ADAP, when Cindy came for that first site visit, where, you know, we had all been working with our families and having the weekly phone calls, but then when it like came together with the live supervisions, where we saw one family after the next, where you know, where big things happened right there in front of us with this supervision process, then for me that was just like, whoa, look at that.
I think it was awesome to see it on the level for the families, the shift in the families and the change, but the change that occurred within me, to feel confident to try something new and different, and to see I have more skill now, but look how the skill helped this family. So helping the families grow and develop, but at the same time me growing and developing, was the simultaneous process, which was so cool.
Yeah, and it's something different than just like reading about it and, you know, having the knowledge in your head, but just like doing it right there, you know, because you know, for whatever reasons you don't, well, some of it is you don't know how to do some of those things until someone shows you how to do it, but a lot of times therapists, you know, like, well, I don't know if they're ready for this to happen or that to happen, or I'm still gathering information, and to really, you know, really focus on like what, you know, what will help this family most, like what change is really needed next, and then really, as Cindy always says, to really go for it in there, and then, you know, like all that like, oh, I'm not sure if the family will like this, you know, just to really see like, oh, because you can see it now, you know, that Lisa and I are supervising and watching sessions, you know, you can just see if a therapist is, you know, starting out with, you know, checking in and small talk, but when they move into that, like when you can see the family like move into like, oh, we're gonna talk about
we're really gonna
this
get some stuff done,
and it is what engages them, you know, like those other things we're talking about is this, you know, the start to engagement.